G'day legends, Craig from BC Life here. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for stopping by today. We are talking Anderson plugs. We're going to make our own Anderson plug connections. Very handy thing. You'll find that you'll do this quite a bit with certain products that you have because they just provide such a good connection. They're 50 amp rated, the components inside, and look, you can buy a little packet like this. This was, I think it was $9, $8 or $9 at Bunnings. You get the little terminals inside and everything you need is ready to go. You really just need some tools to crimp it. So you're probably wondering why you'd want to make your own Anderson plugs, but why you'd want to do it is, I mean, there's multiple reasons. Here's an example I had my compressor before I put the onboard one, the ARB one in Beastie. I had an issue where this was just joined together like this, so pretend that the Anderson plug just was a line that continued through. I had alligator clips. That was the only way that I was able to put this on to run it from the car, was through the battery. And the cord wasn't long enough and it was vibrating across the floor. It was terrible. So I thought, I'll cut this, and I did, put Anderson plugs on it, and that way, if I want to use the alligator clips, I can. But also, I've got heaps of Anderson plugs, the grey ones, in my car. So if you have a look here, the back of Beastie, I've got grey Anderson there. I've got 2 on my camper trailer, and it just meant that I can walk around the car, pump up tyres, do things that I wanted to do, come off the beach, and I didn't have to be miles from the battery. It was just heaps better. So if you have a look here, these are grey to grey, so you can only connect the same colour to the same colour. They do make multiple different Anderson plugs, but if you look positive and negative, they won't line up. It won't work. That goes in like that. They click well. They're awesome. So you can hook up to 6 BNS cable into these, which is quite heavy. I'm going to be showing you how to do that today with 8 BNS. It's the gauge under, but it's really thick cable you can get. I find it cheaper to go and buy what you need, the length you need, and just make up a little cable if you need it, than having to buy something online that's already done and crimped and with the markup on it. So for example, this one here, I've got a small cable and I've got a grey to a red. So the reason I've done that is I've got solar panels that are just portable solar panels I use when I'm camping. So I'll plug them into the back of Beastie to charge the battery if I need to. But what I have in the back of Beastie, I've put a red one in the back of Beastie, which red is considered to be unregulated power. So the solar panel is unregulated. It just goes full ball sun straight into the back. And what I've done there is the BC-DC charger in the back of Beastie regulates the power. But I've also got the grey at the back of Beastie. So the grey is used to charge. Grey is the most commonly used one, but it's for charging circuits. So the grey comes straight out of the back, straight into my camper trailer, and charges my 2 batteries from the car, from the alternator in the car through the BC-DC charger. So I didn't want the kids getting confused or plugging the solar in and getting it wrong. So that's why I made it red. So out of the solar panel is a tiny little grey one. You can't even get it anywhere near to plugging it into anything. So I plug this in, or I plug it into my extension lead. So I plug the grey in, then I put the red into the back, and I know only the red will go in the red. These physically will not fit. That's just the way that they design them. You can't get that in. So that's what's so good about them. If you want to keep a circuit dedicated, you use 2 of the same colours. So the other thing they use the red ones for is the electronic stability control system, so they can get a lot more current to the car to control that stability control rather than when they used to run through the 7-pin connectors. So there's blue ones, there's green ones, there's yellow ones. They all serve their own purposes. So blue is a constant power supply to ASC control unit. So that's an active short circuit, which is controlled circuit safety mechanism that detects and responds to short circuits in electrical systems, limiting current flow to prevent damage. Nerd alert.
Nerd alert. Nerd alert.
Nerd.
So yeah, they all serve their own purpose. There's green, there's yellow, and so on. So that's basically they're designed so that you can't put the wrong one in the wrong one, and they serve their own purpose. Really simple stuff. Yeah, so the other thing I did, I've made up a few, so I've got another one for my fridge. So this plugs straight into the fridge at the back, and then this was a cigarette lighter, and I'm like, I just don't like it. It was like it was going to fall out all the time, and it's been known that cigarette lighters can fall out when you're going over bumpy roads, corrugations and stuff. It's just not worth it. Get there and your fridges or your food spoiled because of that. So chopped it off, bang, Anderson plug, great circuit. And then the Anderson plug, yeah, was grey. So that's it. You go and buy them, you put them on and use them for what you need. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll get the tools I need. I'll come back and we'll hook up this cable and we'll show you an Anderson plug. Okay, legends, here we are. We've got a couple of pliers and wire cutters and our strippers and so on. And so the first thing we need to do is get our wires exposed. It's pretty tough wire, this. See if I can just tear this. It's not too bad. Right, tear this one. And sorry, just off camera. You can do it! Exerting some energy. Right, so we do this. Pretty decent wire, as you can see, she's pretty thick stuff. Right, so you need to take enough back that you can get them in. So if you have a look at this one, for instance, you need it separated enough that you can get these two in comfortably. So say that's getting pretty close. We'll trim this off. So this was actually a full, I think I bought a full reel from of Nava cable from Bunnings. It's probably expensive way to do it. If you were dead serious about making them, you would just buy a heap of some heap of cable in a roll off Bunnings or something like that. Off Amazon or wherever, eBay, and get your wire and do it yourself. But right, so you're left with your wire. It's just a matter of stripping it off with our fancy stripper wires. We'll take a little bit more. Not too bad. Now there is two techniques to doing it. You can, some people like to solder them in. I don't do that, but it just adds a bit of extra stability to the wire in there and whatever you're doing. So I choose not to do that, but it is an option. So what you can do is we'll crack our packet open, and if you have a look in there, there's like a little well, and you could fill that up with solder, put your wire in, let it set, and then crimp it. It does add better stability for the wire in there, but I find you just put that in there like so, give it a good crimp. She's not going to go anywhere. So important, try and get your lugs the same way. So they only go one way into the housing of the Anderson plug. So we'll just put one on for now. Might have to trim this red one back, but this is always the tricky bit. We get our fancy big crimpers. Right, let's see if I can do this on camera. Probably going to struggle a bit, but right, so that's crimped on there. Dropped it. So what you got there? So you got a crimp. That's not a bad connection. And then we do the same on the other one, and then they only go in one way, which I just said, but I'll explain how that works. There's a little bit of metal that it's got a lip on it that catches it so it can't come out, but you can release them, which is fantastic. If it comes out, you want to recrimp it, or there's some issues. So might just take a little bit more off that one. Just trim it with the wire cutters. Right, so we're going to go in here again. And then I'll tape these as well. I don't want any exposed wires if we can help it. Now, again, here we are. Whoops. Really is handy if you got someone else that can hold it. Right. So if you see there, I've got them going the same way so that they clip over. So when you have a look in here, you'll see there's a little bit of metal here, and just try and find my little tiny, put this down. So there's a little bit of metal in here, that thing there. So it'll push it down and it will lip over that. So all that's left to do now, you'll see that that's got a side on. Is that picking that up? It's not, is it? Just like that. Hoping you can see that. It's a little bit. There we go. Yeah, so there's a little lip there, and that little lip will go over the metal. So we'll push them in together from the back. Now you've got to get your orientation right. So you see it's positive and negative. So you've got to get your red there and so on, and we push it through. And when we push it through, you should see you need a bit of force to get these through, like that. Now if you see that's come through, you should hear a click. Click was one, the other one had already gone. But you can see that that lip has just gone over the metal, and then when you try and pull it back, you can't get it. So that's that. And then that's not a bad connection. So if you wanted to, you could slide some heat shrink down there and really tighten that up so it's got no exposure. But basically that's it. Positive and negative done. It's that quick and that simple to make an Anderson plug, and that's good gauge wire, and we're good to go. So it's limitless how many you want to do. So tell me what you think, guys. Would you get into them and make them? I think that's fantastic. So easy done. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, legends.